Well, here I am again. I thought I would tell you guys about a really interesting story. When I was right about, I don't know, 16 years old, maybe 17, I had an audition, right, with a bunch of guys, right, that the name of the band was Indigo. It was Bobby Yale. By the way, Bobby, I hope you're doing good out there. And it was Jimmy Moore, the guitar player. I think the trombone player's last name was Albert. Peter, he had like an Italian name, where it was a sax player. I don't remember the trumpet player's name. The keyboard player, there were a couple of keyboard players, but the guy that I remember was Dimitri. He had this big Leslie organ. Now these guys they were playing Chicago. And, at that time, I mean, I had, let's see, maybe I don't know, for 16 or 17, trying to figure out what album, Chicago had out. I know they definitely had, the Chicago Transit Authority out. Probably Chicago 1. I don't know if Chicago 2 was out yet. But also, too, with all the Blood, Sweat, and Tears, I had the Kool and the Gang albums. This was the kind of music, that I was drumming to. I pretty much learned how to play the drums from playing the Chicago. I really love that kind of music. I knew, that I wasn't really going to be a big band drummer, because after a while, after listening to Buddy Rich, I knew, I probably wasn't going to really be able to get that kind of technique at such a young age. So I kind of went more in the direction of Chicago. Really learned how to play. I mean, I mastered all those songs. In fact, if you were to ask me to play any one of those compositions from the first, for the first 5 up to the Chocolate album, I could play any one of those songs right now perfectly. Either copying Danny Serapin's parts, which I probably would vary a little bit now. But in any event, so I went on the audition. I drove my bicycle. I thought that was pretty cool. Oh, by the way, just in case, I'm on the treadmill and I'm doing my exercise. This is the way I like to present my famous stories. But anyway, so I went out, I drove my bike there, All I had, I guess, was my pair of drumsticks. And, I got on the drum set. Now, there was another guy there, who was, he was a professional drummer. In fact, he ended up in the band a little bit later, but he was older than me. He was probably, oh, by the way, all these guys, that were in the band, were all older than me. Probably, some of them were either in their senior year of high school, or a couple of them were already in college. So these guys were older than me, and these guys they were really good. I mean, they played the Chicago stuff perfectly. So anyway, and then there was another guy who also came before me. He played, and I got to hear him play it. He was probably better than me, because he had been playing a while. This guy was a professional drummer. I think he was already graduated from high school. And he had a big, giant double bass drum kit. Technically, he was definitely more superior than I was. Probably because of the fact that he had probably been playing a lot more years than me. So in any event, he auditioned, and he was really good. I remember, wow, this guy's, he's probably going to get the gig. He was technically much better than me. But, and this is the big but, which I like to kind of think about. I played, the songs, and I thought, I played amazing. I wish I would have had that on tape. Fantastic if I would have had that. I don't have that on tape. There was one reel-to-reel recording of me with that band, and I think Dimitri had it. I was never able to find it. Boy, if I could get hold of that, right, I'd be in ecstasy, because it was probably right the first real professional band that I've been in. Well, I have been in a couple other bands. I played with Paul Prusinski and Rick Kaufman in a band called, what we were called the Undead. Nice name for a band. But by the way, right, Rick Kaufman is a really good guitar player. Paul, right, I don't know, he kind of did it like a hobby, so it wasn't really that. But anyway, getting back right to my audition, we did the Make Me Smile suite. Ba-ba, 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 ba-ba. But the whole suite, it was like actually, probably, right, it took up almost the whole side of a record. I don't know if you guys remember that suite. After, when you listen to Make Me Smile on the radio, they cut that shorter. What it was on the album, right, is it went into like a whole another suite. It had, well, I'm not going to try to describe it, but if you guys get Chicago, yeah, it was Chicago too, the Make Me Smile suite. It was pretty elaborate composition. It had a lot of time in it. It had threes in it. It had that solo, which, by the way, I still can play note per note the solo that he did in Make Me Smile. But in any event, I want to tell you some other stories about Danny Serapin later. But so, I played. For a ride, I really played very, very well, actually. And so, I'm hanging around, and they said for us to both, go upstairs or something, that they were going to make a decision. I figured, there's no way around I got this gig. This other guy was definitely better than me, and also, too, he had a really good drum set. He had, double bass, I think 2 tom-toms and 2 floor tom-toms. It was like a Ginger Baker kit. The guy was a monster. He was a lot bigger than me, too. He was a big guy. Really, really good drummer. So anyway, I come down, and they told me, "You got the gig." I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable, right? I'm glad, that the big guy wasn't too upset, He was a pretty big guy. But nah, it wasn't like that. I mean, it was all good. So, but the story was, is the reason that I got the gig over the other guy, who was definitely, superior to me as far as drumming is concerned, was because I had really, really spent a lot of time playing that Chicago music, because that's the music I love. That's how I learned how to play. And I had every composition down. I would play those albums over and over and over again when I was playing the records, I don't play the records anymore. That's another topic which I'll discuss with you guys. But in any event, that's the bottom line. That, I had that style down. Whereas the other guy, he really didn't have the style down. And even though he was definitely technically more advanced than I was, because he'd been playing longer, didn't have the parts down, and that's what it was about. So, the moral of the story is, if you're auditioning for any particular situation, you want to audition for situations of music that you're really, really good at. Now, I'll give you another example. I had the opportunity, and I'll finish with this. Oh, by the way, we played a lot of gigs together. Not as many as I would have liked to, but and they ended up playing the Battle of the Bands at Eisenhower Park, and I wasn't in the band. I don't know what happened. Something happened. I don't know. But you want to know something, The guy that I had auditioned with, he was in the band then. I was a little disappointed, that I wasn't in the band then. But in any event, I guess that things happen. The mysteries of life. Who knows what happened? But in any event, many years later, I had the opportunity to. It was when Billy Idol, was looking for a drummer, and I had the opportunity, to go on an interview, and I submitted, a tape and then a photograph and everything. I remember, my sister, she put makeup on me. I wanted to try to get because at that time Billy Idol had you know, the guys in this band all had like makeup on, and I don't know. It was cool, right? They looked like girls, basically, you know. That was the look back then. This was the early Billy Idol, when he had released Money. So I put together like a demo and whatnot, and went on the interview with my demo and everything, and with what I could do. And the guy told me something right that always have stayed with me. And what he said was, you know, you're a really, really good drummer. This was after I had been playing a few years. This was like in the 80s, so I had been playing a while. You know, I was like, I don't want to tell you how many years out of high school I was, but because then you'll figure out how old I am. By the way, don't ask me how old I am. I'll just tell you that I've seen a few sunsets. But so I didn't get the gig, and what happened was the guy told me, he was like really, really kind of cool about it, that, you know, the reason you didn't really get the gig was first off, right, my playing was too slick. In other words, right, I was too, I don't know, slick and clean of a player was, and what Billy Idol's band wanted is they wanted like much more of a, I guess maybe a heavier hitter, because I never was really a heavy drummer, and also too, I didn't look the part. You know, I just didn't have that image. But you know, it's funny, right? The guy that eventually played with Billy Idol, Tommy Price, really, really accomplished drummer. So, but you know, it's funny, right? He was slick. He did a lot of really good things. But that was on the Rebel Yell album. That was a little bit later. But in any event, so the moral of the story was that because I wasn't that type of drummer, I had no chance of getting that kind of gig. And so anyway, you know, most of the gigs that I played, and the recordings that I made in bands were bands where I fit in. So I guess the moral of the story is you don't always necessarily fit in every playing situation. And I think the thing is, you know, that I've come to realize is I've developed my own little niche, which is kind of cool. I play the way I play, kind of like more of a big beat type drummer, and I do what I do. So hopefully, if you guys are out there auditioning, you know, for different situations, audition for types of music that you love, more than just try to audition for a band playing music that you may not necessarily like. For example, like if I got a call, I know Frank Bellucci did a couple of things online, they were really good, but I wouldn't attempt it. He was actually playing to some really, really heavy metal tracks, you know. He did a really, really good job, but I wouldn't attempt to do that, because I'm just not that kind of drummer. I don't play that hard, first of all. I definitely don't play that hard. And I don't play double bass, so most of that stuff, wouldn't really work. On the other hand, if, you know, a big beat funk kind of band, like maybe a Herbie Hancock type thing, or maybe I don't know, a Rolling Stones type of thing, in the pocket, that would be the kind of thing, that I would definitely, probably more than likely do. I'm going to go on pause here for a second. So anyway, that's my story for today on that, and I hope that you guys find it useful and inspiration, and I'll talk to you guys on another clip. By the way, I got this commentary idea from Danny Britt. I figure I do it at the gym, because I can't stand walking on the treadmill, so it passes the time. See you guys soon, and I hope you found it useful. Take care. Watch my show tonight.